Dembo's fiction and poetry have appeared in the Magazine of Fantasy and Science Fiction, Weird Tales, Deep Magic, H.P. Lovecraft's Magazine of Horror, and many anthologies. She has also contributed screenplays and narrative design to many computer games. Currently, she lives and writes in Vancouver. Arinn, take it away.
All right. This story is called Memphremagog. Take it easy, boy. This old boat ain't so fast as she used to be, nor am I. It'll take most of an hour to get out to Owl's Head, even if I gun her for all she's worth, which I won't, because it's late, and there ain't no hurry. Now be still, and no more wriggling like a damn trout. I'll give you the boat hook again, so I will. It's dark and raining, and I'm old and cross. I would have knocked you out cold already if I wasn't one for conversation. So if I was you, I'd get to talking. No, I don't know who you are. I didn't see the game last Friday, no, sir. Haven't watched a game since 1972. I'm a real Vermonter, son. I've had no interest in the local sports since they stopped sending the winning team to be our emissaries to the god. Just ruined the damn game, if you ask me. I miss the days when the boys on the field had values. You could count on a winning athlete to be a fine, upstanding young buck prepared to face the powers that be for his township. He'd carry our prayers down to Memphremagog for an end to the winter storms, or to give us a good year in the orchards. Hell, even the cheerleaders were brave when it come their turn to take a long swim. People had some stone to 'em in my day. What's that, you say? Who's Memphremagog? Jeez, crow, what are you? Some kind of flatlander? You talk like you got no parents, no religion at all. Blackwater preserve us, boy. I ain't supposed to look under that hood, but you're no kin of mine. That's a fact. Catholic? Ah, well, that explains it, sure enough. Memphremagog is real god, boy. He's the god for people in these parts, like the Thunder Brothers out on Lake Champlain, or the Pomola that lives up Mount Katahdin. And no, I ain't talking about a lake monster. You sure do talk like a Flatlander. Flatlanders think they've got him all figured, that he's some kind of dinosaur swimming around. But Memphremagog ain't some jumped-up water snake for tourists and their cameras. No, sir. He's a real god. The kind that'll have his due and won't take no for an answer. It's the same for us as it was for the Abenakis before. When the white men first came here 200 years ago, the Abenakis told them not to swim nor fish in the god's water. The name of the lake is the name of the god, Momlo Bogog, the great place of the water. And Memphremagog is the water, boy, all 32 mile of him. From the mouth of the Magog River up Quebec all the way down here to Newport, where your mam raised you. White men don't listen, and that's the cause of all their trouble. If white men could listen, you wouldn't be in this boat right now. You're here because you grew up drinking the god's water all your life, and now you owe him a debt. Ah, you're quiet now. Think the old woodchuck is crazy, do you? Well, you can think as you like. They taught you in school that your body is more than half water, and where do you think the water in your tap comes from? The moon? If I'm crazy, it's no harm. You'll hit the water at Owl's Head, and you'll swim to shore, none the worse for wear, even in the dark, so long as you don't give me no trouble between here and there. Yes, boy, I do have to do this. You think you're the first kid broke down in a boat crying? You think I'd be the first one who got soft in the head and tried to cheat the lake? Hell no! Even the Abenakis couldn't always hold to their bargains. Even in the old days, the god would sometimes ask for something too dear. They say one of the old chiefs had to give his young wife to the Manitou right on their wedding day. Wasn't that a bitch? Had to put her in the canoe and take her out to the Balance Rock to die. Changed his mind halfway there, and the god took them both. Ripped their village apart and half the forest, too. I've got 2 sons and a daughter living in town, and grandkids besides, so no 2 ways about it. You're taking the swim, son. May as well not cry about it. And oh yes, yes, I've seen the fury of the lake god. It were the Olsons who'd done it, back before the Second World War. You've heard of them. Boy your age probably drank more of their swill than your mam would like, and God knows I've wasted a few myself. Olsons are from Montreal. A bunch of Englishmen who come to Quebec and made their family fortune brewing beer. They have the knack of being rich and getting richer, too. Steamboats, hotels, hospitals, railroad or two. They even made a bank. That's how rich they were. One of them was rich enough to be aboard the old Titanic when she sunk. They say he jumped over the rail thinking he could swim to a ship's light off in the distance. There's a long swim, didn't go so well, I'll tell you what. It were the banker Olsen who bought himself the best island on the lake and built himself a summer place out on the water. No one minded it much. Vermonters were happy enough for their trade for many years, but then Percy Olsen died in the Great War, just blown apart like it was like a dandelion by a great big howitzer, and his little brother Jack Olsen took over the place. Ain't no two ways to say it. Jack Olsen was just no good. Jackie and his hooligans would come down here every year and just plain raise hell around these parts. They were drunk and wild, and the locals learned fast enough that no good would come to a girl who said yes to a boat ride with them, or a picnic lunch out at that fancy mansion on the lake. Jack Olsen had no respect and no sense either, but the Olsens had plenty of money to buy the law and keep things quiet for him. They spent enough to keep young Jack out of the papers and out of jail. I was just a boy the year that Jackie Olsen went to war with the lake god. Way I heard it. Some old woodchuck got mad when Jackie and his bunch were rough with his daughter, and he got vengeful and decided to come after young Olsen the old-fashioned way, with a Blackwater hex. So the old man went out to the balance rock and he made his offering to the god, and sure enough, Jackie Olsen's left arm went limp that summer and hung off his shoulder like dirty wash. He went up to Montreal to the family hospital, and they spent a year fussing over him, trying to get it to work again, but it withered instead, just dried up like an old stick. Memphra Magog took that arm, and for all I know, Jackie's man parts went the same way. All I know for sure is the old farmer seen Olsen in the store the next summer, and he laughed right in his face, and said he guessed little Jackie wouldn't be holding no local girls down, nor making 'em cry no more, thanks to the lake god. Thing was, Jack Olsen wasn't just a mean drunk. He was smart in his way and a little crazy, and he had more money than any mortal man should. That old farmer didn't live out the winter. Sheriff said he slipped with an axe chopping wood in his barn, but people said it were Jackie killed him or paid to have it done. And then a couple of little men with glasses come to town about a few months later, hanging around the library in the town hall, asking the old Abenakis a lot of questions about the lake and any old stories they might remember. It was midsummer night when Jackie Olsen and his friends went out to Manitou Island and piled dynamite around the old balance rock. He destroyed the stone because it belonged to the god, you see. He thought he could play the old eye for an eye with the lake. The storms rolled in the next day. When he heard what they'd done, my father tried to pack us all onto the White Mountain train to Montreal. Said he'd send a telegram when it was over. The station was jammed with old Vermonters doing the same. But I was old enough to think I belonged with the men, not with the wives and children, and I swore up and down I'd be a help boarding up the house against the storm. Tore my mom's heart, but she let me stay. Said she was proud of me, too, and told me to take care of him. And since he was standing right there, she was really telling him to take care of me, I expect, but I must have swelled up just like a balloon. First time I remember feeling like I was a man. And what happened? Well, what do you think, boy? He took everything in his reach, is what? All three of the old lighthouses on the lake gone, starting with Olsen's own lighthouse right on his own island. By morning there wasn't nothing left but a broken steel and flinders. Knocked the whole lighthouse on Whipple Point on its ear, just hit it with a great black fist, so it was leaning like that big tower of Pisa. My dad took me out in the boat to see it, to show me the power of the god before it all come down like a house of cards. The Newport lighthouse was gone that morning, too. With that red light that used to guide their boats to shore, God took the docks and wrecked most of Newport into the bargain. And Memphra Magog wasn't done, son. Anyone could feel it. Wind was blowing over the lake, waves still high and angry, and we could all feel that anger inside us, the rage of the water boiling in our veins. Another storm was coming, even worse than the first. He'd shown us more patience than we deserved, is what, with our mills and our farms and our human filth, and Memphra Magog meant to wipe us away like a bad dream. So my father and some of the local men went out that night in the dark to Olsen Island, and they went out to that big mansion, and they roused Jackie from his four-poster bed. Weren't no way to glue the balance rock back together and put right what Jack Olsen done, but they dragged him out in the storm to the boats, and they brought him and his friends here to Owl's Head to take a nice, long swim. And now it's your turn, boy. No point in crying about it. I made the same swim myself 50 years ago, and half the men in town can say the same. The god spared me, and he let me reach the mountain. Maybe he'll give you a pass, too. He works in mysterious ways. Just be thankful it's summer, and the water ain't 20 below. Just be thankful you still got 2 good arms. Jackie Olsen didn't see land again that night, but you just might. Now, swim.
Well,